was definitely an interesting weekend for Raiders fans, NFL fans, Buccaneers fans. A whole lot of fan bases were affected by one Dana White on a Gronk cast.
I worked to put that deal together for Brady and Gronk to come to the Raiders. And it was almost a done deal. And at the last minute, Gruden blew the deal up and said that he didn't want him. And all hell broke loose, man. It was crazy. And Brady was already looking at houses, and it wasn't being said yet that Gronk was coming. So Las Vegas would have had Brady and Gronk the year that the Bucs won the Super Bowl, except Gruden blew the deal up.
I'm not really a big fan of this topic, honestly, but hey, I mean, Tom Brady is Tom Brady. You know, you can't deny that. But
why do you think that Gruden was so resistant?
8 years of Derek Carr for Tom Brady, which our offensive line is not that great anyway. So
do you think that's why Gruden was so resistant to sign Brady when he was a free agent?
Yeah.
The age.
Number one, John Gruden in himself is already old. His offense is old. His defense is old. Why not go out and get an old quarterback? It makes sense.
Kyle, what did you think when you first heard the comments?
Well, the first thing when I saw this was circulating the headlines over the weekend was that people really love these Tom Brady conspiracies so much. First, it was, oh my gosh, Tom Brady's going to the 49ers. And oh my gosh, what if Tom Brady were a Raider? Or, oh my gosh, what if Tom Brady had a secret back deal with the Miami Dolphins where they were going to have Sean Payton retire and unretire as head coach then in Miami, but it only got blown up by a once in a generation racial discrimination lawsuit. Man, everyone loves these Tom Brady conspiracy theories so much.
Yeah, they do.
But this isn't just a conspiracy theory, though. Gronk confirmed this. It wasn't just Dana White. It was also Matt Lombardi confirmed that this was a almost thing that happened. So
why the trigger wasn't pulled? That's the question. Why the trigger wasn't pulled then?
Well, it seems like it is literally boiling down to Gruden. And at least my theory on it, on why he would be so resistant to go about it, would be obviously you're relinquishing team control when Tom Brady goes to your team. It's something that the Bucs were much more willing to do. And obviously when Brady gets there, they're signing Leonard Fournette, signing Shady McCoy, they're signing Antonio Brown, they're trading up in the first round to draft offensive line. A lot of that seemed like Tom Brady doing a little bit of GM manipulation behind the scenes. And maybe that was just something that Gruden and Mike Mayock at the time weren't willing to do. And I could understand why you'd be resistant, but at the same time, I think you pull that trigger. I understand what you're saying about the age argument with Derek Carr, but bottom line, we don't know if Derek Carr is ever going to win a Super Bowl. I know what Tom Brady did a couple of years ago. He took the Buccaneers, a franchise that hadn't even been to the playoffs in over a decade, and won a Super Bowl. So,
but this is the problem, though, Julian. This is the problem, though.
Okay, let's go.
When Tom Brady comes into the Las Vegas Raiders, John Gruden ain't giving up his power. That's the only problem.
Yeah, we know it took some leak emails to do that.
Tom Brady not win a Super Bowl in Las Vegas just because of that. Because Gruden don't know how to put weapons around their quarterbacks. If you look at the years that Derek Carr was here, name a real true number one receiver that he had besides Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree.
Obviously, Martavis Bryant, right? That's at least worth a third round pick.
We're not.
Give me some Tyrell Williams.
Bryant's best years was in Pittsburgh. We know that.
Give me some Tyrell Williams.
Hunter Renfrow.
Hunter Renfrow's not a number one. We know that.
Had more yards than Mike Evans last year and as many touchdowns as Stephon Diggs somehow. I still can't believe that's a real stat.
Yeah, and just imagine how it is now with with the whole Adams thing, how he's going to be even more open.
See, in that first round, the Bucs obviously traded up to get Tristan Wirfs. I guess I would have spared you at least the Henry Ruggs tragedy.
I wasn't a big fan of Ruggs coming out. A lot of people don't know that. I wasn't a big fan of Ruggs. So I felt as though in that actual draft, it was better receivers than him at that spot.
That includes Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb at the same time.
A little bit of old school
CeeDee Lamb more than anything.
John Gruden with his ties to Al Davis. You gotta get speed, Raiders ball, right? And that's
I don't want to say what I want to say. Speed, leap. I don't want to say that.
I see where you're going with it. I understand. We get. I just think this is a miss. It would have been your inaugural season in Las Vegas. The greatest of all time quarterback is coming your way. But I'm looking at it through the benefit of hindsight as well. Obviously, we know that coming off that 2019 season, Brady was struggling. He was starting to show his age. I believe Kyle likes to point out that he had the same QBR as Mitch Trubisky that year.
Yes. Yeah. Same QBR as Mitchell Trubisky in 2019. That's correct.
So it's easy to look at that 2019 version that entered free agency and think to yourself that that was a diminishing quarterback that was on the open market. And then he goes to Tampa and just happens to win that Super Bowl in a little bit of an odd year. Obviously, no fans in the stands. The Buccaneers had a bit of more ready-made team than a lot of the other candidates that were
just a quarterback away.
Services. Yeah, they were a quarterback away. When you have Jameis Winston, who had the 30-30 season the season before, and they were still 7-9, kind of on the outskirts of the playoffs, not completely incompetent. They go out there again and get AB, fix their offensive line and their defense with the way their defense was built. It was a ready-made contender. The other team that was talked about a lot in that offseason was going to be the Los Angeles Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers were apparently really close on getting Tom Brady. And if nothing else, too, if the Raiders knew that the Chargers were in on the bidding, they probably should have made a little bit more of a diligent effort to try and avoid him from going in the division. Luckily for their benefit, it didn't end up happening. And obviously, again, Tom Brady goes to Tampa Bay. The story goes on as told. Personally, that offseason, I didn't even think he was leaving New England. But I did have the Raiders as like my second choice if he did go to another team.
I didn't have him even leaving New England either. But just imagine if Tom Brady did leave this season and Josh McDaniels was, as our head coach right now. I think that might be a little bit more different, and Tom Brady might reconsider coming to the Las Vegas Raiders. But I think Tom Brady respects Derek Carr enough to know, okay, they have their quarterback. I'm going to revive another Tampa Bay Buccaneers, revive another franchise that I did before with the New England place was good back then, but they wasn't as great. They were good. They wasn't that great at them, but Tom Brady just shows no matter what team he goes on, he could turn it around as a quarterback.
I guess when free agency in 2025 hits or 2030 or however Brady decides to stretch this one out, maybe he'll live his dream. On the next Gronkcast, we'll find out they're heading to Las Vegas. Kyle, any closing thoughts before we close this one?
I'm still stuck on the fact that this is leading headline on every sports radio topic today when the Miami Dolphins literally got fined for tampering with Tom Brady and had a secret plan.
It's not tampering, it's Dana White. He's an outside
It's not
entity.
tampering. It's just no one cares that the Dolphins had a secret backdoor deal to have Tom Brady and Sean Payton become their coach and quarterback. And now Sean Payton and Bruce Arians are out of jobs. And Tom Brady seems pretty unhappy in Tampa Bay. And no one wants to talk about that story.
I think it's because we have the shop, because we have the quote from the shop. And everyone's looking at Derek Carr.
How is a soundbite on LeBron James's podcast a bigger deal than actually getting hit with tampering charges for Tom Brady?
Hey, Julian, in that 2024 season, you never know. He might be a part of that helmet you got on that desk there and with the 49ers. You never know. I'm just saying.
Well, we've gone back and forth certainly on a Trey Lance topic or two, so we'll see. I'm hoping for the best, hoping that the third overall pick in last year's draft can live up to expectations. Lord knows that the quarterbacks in that draft haven't otherwise. Right. But Darion, otherwise, thank you for joining us, man. Where can people find you these days? I know you kind of went through a little bit of rebranding recently.
Yeah, I'm actually going through a couple of rebrands at this point. But I'm still part of the, find me on Twitter at Spotlight Art and Talk. That's the Raiders Twitter. My network Twitter is Spotlight Sports Network. So if you want to try me on Spotlight Sports Network, you could definitely go to SL Sports Network on Twitter, Instagram, SL Sports Network, same thing, Spotlight Raiders Talk on Instagram. Running 2 brands at this moment. So so you can follow me on both of those.
Just know the links will be in the bio below. So go ahead and follow Darion on all of his platforms. From Juju Talk Sports, Kyle Ledbetter, stay safe, happy and healthy, hit that like button, and hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.